Today we're going to be comparing two grinders. We have the 1Z Presso K Plus and we have the Commandant C40 Mark III with the red clicks. I'll explain the difference and what that all means later in this video. But first off, I want to say welcome to Kabin's Coffee Corner. This channel is designed to help you choose the coffee gear you want to brew with at home. You'll find a lot of reviews and comparisons on this channel like this one, so if you like those, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. If you're looking at purchasing these, please use the links in the description. We'll all make a slight commission at no extra charge to you that goes back into this YouTube channel. And lastly, I have an Instagram account called Kabin's Coffee Corner. You're more than welcome to follow me there. That was a lot of information. Let's get started. So we have the 1Z Presso K Plus grinder. This is the highest tier grinder from 1Z Presso. It comes in about $270. And then we have the Commandant C40 Mark III with red clicks. There's a newer version of this. The newer version includes a glass cup like this, a plastic cup, and it has a sloped version on the inside to allow beans to flow in a little easier. Other than that, it's the exact same grinder. To buy the Mark IV, which is the ones that are available now, you're looking at anywhere between $325 to $360 for the grinder. Plus, you're going to need to look at another additional cost, which would be the red clicks system. The red clicks allows the adjustments to go a little bit finer, or not finer. It's less of a jump between grind setting to grind setting in there. So it goes from click 1, click 2, click 3 on this one, and then it would be basically like click 1, click 1.5, click 2. So it adds another adjustment in between those, and then it will double the amount of clicks that you have, and that's kind of how that works. So you're looking at like somewhere between $375 to $400. Yeah, $375 to over $400 for this guy right here, versus $270 for this one. So that's a huge price point at the beginning. In the midst of having both of these grinders, I've used this one extensively for a year for any traveling purposes, and I recently picked this one up a few weeks ago, and I've been comparing them side by side. I've been using this one for traveling recently so I could get an idea of what that one felt like in comparison to this one, and I feel like I have a very well-rounded idea. So I want to go over a couple of the features first and foremost of this. So first off, we have a nice hard shell case for the 1Z Presso here. I believe 1Z Presso makes a smaller case for a different grinder that would fit the Commandant, so that's an option for that. It's got a strap here to hold the grinder. It's got a handle similar, and it's got a brush, two-sided brush, a little grounds cleaning pump, which is completely useless in my opinion, and it's got a new cup option, catch cup option that I'll dive into in just a little bit. So we're going to go starting. I'm going to compare these side by side right here. So first off, we got a little bit of a height difference and a little bit of a width difference. So the Commandant is just slightly bigger on the width. The 1Z Presso K Plus is a little bit taller on the height. Both of these have a handle that has a little magnetic piece in here that you simply just lift up and it goes directly back down and it holds it in place fairly well. The Commandant has a nicer wood finish in my opinion on the handle, and I have had an issue with the 1Z Presso handle. If I pull it up, it will pop out occasionally. Just like that, and I had that happen while grinding once. To change the grind settings, we're going to get into that next. For this one, you can see big numbers on the side of it, which will indicate where you're at, and you simply just move this top dial and follow the number system there with a little bit of click adjustments on the inside. In between that, it's got a nice red dot to indicate where you are at on the grind setting. The Commandant C40, you unscrew this catch cup. We'll get into that a little bit, and there's two ways you could go. Counterclockwise would make it coarser, while clockwise will make it finer, and you have a click adjustment here. So if you're doing a pour over, you have to count like 50 clicks, give or take, if you have the red click system to get to the portafilter, to get to pour over. To set your grind setting, you have to basically go all the way to 0, and to find 0, you have to hold the grinder like this, grind finer, and eventually you'll get to the point where if the handle is like this, it's not falling. But you do one, this setting right here would be 0 clicks because the handle is not falling really. But you do one more and then the handle frees a little more. So that's kind of how you figure out where your starting point is for the Commandant C40. the catch cup on this one screws in. The catch cup on this one is magnetic, and you have two versions of a catch cup here. You have this screw-on portion here, which will allow you to change from this type of a base to this type of a base. This base is similar to what you would find on the Weber Workshops key grinder and the Weber Workshops EG1 grinder, which are very expensive grinders, $2,000 and $4,000. It basically looks like this. It's similar to a blind shaker cup. This one is from Craig Lynn. Craig Lynn used to be a part of Weber Workshops, and they branched off, and he redesigned this cup, and I feel like it looks a lot better and functions a lot better than the ones from Weber, because they did put some more time into this one while Weber did some other stuff. Anyway, so this is a blind shaker cup, and it's got some texture on the side. I'll review this at some point anyway. But basically what happens is you put coffee grounds in here, and you shake it up, and that distributes the grounds and does this thing called the Weiss distribution technique, or WDT, which is basically distributing the grounds with like a needle type tool to make it a more even coffee bed in your espresso machine, and will produce more of an even extraction. So this is basically in here. So you have your coffee grounds in here, and you shake it, and then you pull this centerpiece out, and it's going to expose the bottom of it, allowing coffee grounds to come through this. So you have the same tool, just slightly different here. You pull this up, and the coffee grounds can come through this, which makes it really nice if you're using this as a travel grinder with a travel espresso machine. It gives you a nice versatile tool in there. It does have some problems with it. Overall, it's a nice feature that I haven't seen on any other hand grinder. Okay, going on to a couple things that I like and dislike. I have done reviews of both of these, so you can find some little more details in here, so I'm going to cover a little quickly of some of the things I have in here. One of the things that I always do with grinders is it gets coffee grounds caught up on the inside of here by static electricity. So I always typically knock the coffee grinder to release some of those grinds to get more of it out there and leave it a little bit cleaner of a grinder. So I do that on a tamping mat. If I'm at home, I'll just simply knock the grinder like this on a tamping mat. But if I'm at a hard surface like this in a hotel room or somewhere else, I don't want to scratch my grinder or scratch the table. In this case, I don't want to break this glass jar. So the plastic one would be a lot better. In this case, if I'm using this grinder with this bottom plate with the little funnel thing that pulls up, if I knock it on my hand, which is what I would do in a normal circumstances, you have to be careful to not knock this piece out where coffee grounds come over. With this magnetic thing, if you don't clean this grinder occasionally, you will get coffee grounds here, which will make the magnetics weaker, which will increase the chances of this falling off. You don't have to worry about that with the Comandante, but you do have to screw it in and out. I have seen people use this as an espresso cup after they cleaned it out, which gives you another option and another way to use this grinder, which makes it a little bit more convenient for traveling purposes if you wanted to do it that way. All right, I've talked a lot, and now you guys are probably here for one answer only. Which one tastes better and which one would I buy again? So I've owned this. I paid for this with my own money. Shout out to you guys for helping fund that money through this YouTube channel. And this one I got as a gift for my sister-in-law for her birthday. And I bought this used. So that's a fair warning on those two things. So this full price for, and I love this grinder so much that I actually bought one for a review, sold it, and then rebought a different one back because I regretted selling that grinder. There's three things that come into purchasing a grinder. The price, the convenience and ease of use and the enjoyment of use. So I'm just going to put enjoyment of use on there. And then the quality of coffee grounds in here. So you kind of have to figure out which one of those is a priority for you. We're looking at, again, around a $100 price point between these two grinders. This one, the 1Z Presso, does grind a little bit faster because it has this thing called, this handle is substantially longer when you put them next to each other. You can see how much further this one sticks out, which gives you more leverage while you're grinding. The Comandante is kind of known for a slower coffee grinder, so that's a problem. You can buy an accessory for this to make the handle longer for another $50. You have to spend another $50 on red clicks if you even want a chance to use it for espresso. So if I were to put this in there, you obviously have the 1Z Presso as the better or the cheaper coffee grinder. I would put, for the enjoyment of use, I would go back to the 1Z Presso for literally almost every single reason that you have in a grinder. The handle is longer, which makes it easier to use. It comes with a case. It comes with this double catch cup. It comes with a magnetic catch cup, which is a little bit easier than screwing out. And the grind adjustment is so much easier to use on the 1Z Presso because you have clear indication on where you are. You don't have to go back to zero and count clicks, which I can find very frustrating to do on the Comandante. When it comes to build quality, I do feel like the Comandante is a little bit better, and it does feel a little bit more premium with the real wood accent on the side of it. But that does not make the 1Z Presso feel less premium. So we got price, 1Z Presso. We got convenience, 1Z Presso. But the thing is, the taste I would give to the Comandante. And I would do that for both espresso and both pour over. That's my personal opinion. I know some people would disagree with that, but the Comandante seems just a small notch up in quality. And another huge factor for the Comandante is the fact that there's a very wide community of people who've used Comandantes for competitions and things like that. So oftentimes you might be able to find recipes for certain coffees based off the number of clicks on the grinder, which would be directly to the Comandante, so you can share recipes with friends that have Commandants really a lot easier. Back, I believe in 2019, there was a US Barista competition, and one of my friends got third place in the US in that competition. And the coffee that he used for that was sold, again, a couple years later. They froze the greens and re-roasted it the exact same to have that coffee again, and you could buy it in a package. So it was a very expensive coffee, and it was a very nice coffee. And I had the opportunity to buy that coffee, text the guy who got third place in it, and recreate his exact recipe because I had a Commandant with red clicks, and he gave me the exact grind setting that I needed to be at, which got me right in the target of where I wanted to be. And I had the privilege of trying one of the best coffees at a very, very high level of competition because I had a Commandant that you don't get with a lot of other grinders, because the grind setting isn't that transferable into things. That's obviously a very niche thing when it comes to grinders, and not everybody has that opportunity. But there's been a lot of people who have used this, and the Comandante has been a popular grinder for, I want to say, like, has it been 7 years now? It was like the known grinder, and it's still really high up there, but you got newer companies like 1Z Presso coming out there with newer grinders, which makes the competition a little bit more fierce. So that being said, I believe the Comandante is just slight tweaks above on flavor. However, if I were buying a grinder for myself again, I would pick the 1Z Presso because I don't think that the Commandant is worth $100 more. Yes, you're getting a little bit better flavor, but you're getting it at the expense of the ease of use of it. And honestly, the Comandante has not been a fun experiments for me. If I'm doing a pour over, I will pick the Commandant out of any other grinder. But if I'm doing espresso, dialing in with a Commandant is a nightmare. It's always very difficult to figure out what grind setting to be at, to count, to remember where you're at if you're switching to pour over, versus something like literally any other grinder like a Kinu or the 1Z Presso. It's way easier to use a 1Z Presso over a Commandant. So out of all the grinders that I've used, which would be for hand grinder, a Kinu M47 Classic, an Air Grind, a Commandant, and the 1Z Presso, I really do believe that the 1Z Presso is one of the best ones out there. The Kinu was a great experience of use. It felt very premium, but I love the versatility of the cups here, and I love the fact that there's a lid on this one versus the Kinu does not. So I would buy the 1Z Presso again in the heartbeat. Which, that being said, like I said, I'm shipping this off to my sister-in-law, which means I will not have this grinder very much anymore. I can still answer some questions on it. I will still occasionally be able to use it when I visit them, so I can answer any questions later down the road for it. But as I'm giving this one away, and as I've had the experience and the joy of using this, I will be selling my Commandant. I'll be selling my Commandant, and I'll be replacing it with something, whether it's this exact one or whether it's one that I haven't tried before. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm probably going to pick up something from the 1Z Presso line because I believe that they're just so convenient and so great. And when I'm traveling, I would much rather just take this one for the simple use of it and sacrifice just small increments of quality. And that, I think, would make a way better traveling experience for me, especially if you're traveling with multiple people. Grinding multiple shots of espresso with this is not a fun experience. It's not fun with any hand grinder, but it's a lot better on other grinders. So that's kind of where I'm at. This is still a great grinder. This is still a very sought after grinder, but I think when this came out, I think it was worth it because there was another competition. But now the competition has raised the bar so high, people have been indifferent on whether the taste quality is. Some people actually think it's better on this than it is the Commandant. And I believe it's the other way around. Some other people would agree with me on that, so it's very subjective on that. But that's really how I feel, and that's why I would label the 1Z Presso K Plus one of the best values for grinder out there. I haven't used any of the other 1Z Presso lines, but all these features that it comes with is great. My only con that I have with it is, outside of the user errors that I've had, is I wish the case was smaller and they got that more somehow in a more compact way. Other than that, shout out to 1Z Presso for getting in the market, but also shout out to Commandant for pioneering the way to good coffee grounds through a hand grinder. It's been a joy to use both of these. If you have any questions on either one of these, please let me know, and I would love to help you out by answering it in any way possible. And again, please like and subscribe. That would really help me out as a YouTuber. Thank you so much for watching.